going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Down South Packers podcast with me, your host, Anthony Boyd. I know it's been a while. It's been about a month since I've recorded a podcast. Had some things going on, personal life this time of year, but I am back. I am excited to record another podcast and be here with you guys. Missed a lot over the last month of football, but I am excited to get back into this. We'll have a lot of content coming up, so go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. We'll be talking, obviously, postseason now that the regular season's over, but also getting after the season's over, getting into some draft stuff, talking about some prospects maybe the Packers could target, and looking at some free agents and who may be gone from the team after this year. So go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Got a lot of stuff coming. Thank you guys for listening, clicking on the video. I know it's been a while again, or the podcast, wherever you're listening. Gonna get this up on Apple Podcasts or wherever else so that people who don't use YouTube can listen to it as well. So super excited about that. Going to dive into this. So the Packers took on the Vikings this past weekend. Not going to hit that too much. If you look at the stats of that game or watch that game, it was very much, hey, let's get out of this game healthy. Packers weren't able to do that 100%, but they were trying to run the clock out, get out of that one as fast and legally as possible in the NFL. Lost it, but it didn't really matter. The Packers had seating locked up and were resting a lot of the starters, so weren't trying to lose per se, but you also didn't care that much about winning. You had the 7th seed already, and you're just kind of figuring out who you're going to be taking on the following weekend. We now know that that opponent will be the Chicago Bears, a divisional rival. You get round 3 in that game, in that matchup. You get to see Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams yet again. Dennis Allen in that defense. The Packers are aware of what this Bears team likes to do. You have plenty of film on them. You have 17 weeks of football plus your 2 personal matchups against them. I think the Packers should feel confident coming into this one. I mean, if we're just looking at the last 2 games that these 2 teams played, Caleb Williams in general in the last 2 games, I think he averaged about 218 passing yards with about a 55% completion percentage. He had 4 touchdowns and 1 interception as well, so he didn't necessarily light it up against you. I think that the Packers defense should feel okay, but there are some things that concern you when you go up against Caleb Williams and you're playing against him. Caleb Williams has this uncanny ability to get outside of the pocket and create plays. A lot of the times you'll see him running, especially out near the sidelines, and he'll really toe the line of being in and out, and he'll fire a rocket right before he steps out of bounds to one of his receivers, buying as much time as possible for those guys to get open. Looks a lot like Josh Allen does. He's not as big as Josh Allen, but he also just doesn't seem to get hit. Caleb knows how to protect himself at the same time. Super elusive. Also has the ability in the pocket. You'll see he'll have someone who's wrapped around him hanging off of his neck or something, but Caleb knows how to shake free and keep running. Keep his eyes downfield, going to keep trying to make the play. So Caleb's really good at that. I'll give him his props. I'm not going to hate on the Bears too much in that regard. I think this team's really good, and the Packers should take them seriously. But I do think that there's weaknesses for the Packers to exploit. The run game for the Bears, as it had been, it's been pretty good for most teams all season. However, against the Packers, the running backs have averaged about 100 yards in both games. That doesn't scare me, especially in the last game. I don't believe the Packers had Micah. I can't remember off the top of my head how the weeks lined up, but I don't believe the Packers had Micah the last time they played. And if that's the case, I'm okay. I'm okay. The Packers' interior defensive line will need to step up, though, and continue to contain those guys. Keep Monungai and DeAndre Swift at bay. Those guys are going to be amped up, going to be juiced because they're playing against a division opponent, and one in particular, the Packers, getting the opportunity to try to knock them out of the playoffs when everyone knows the history between the Bears and the Packers. The Packers have normally had the upper hand, at least in the more recent memory. The Packers have had the upper hand in these situations, and the Bears have been the little brother. The Bears did act like a little brother after they beat the Packers, putting on the cheese graters, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to crash out too much over that. I think the Bears have a good team, but I don't think the Packers will have a hard time stopping their offense. I think the Packers did a great job in the first half of both games. The 2 times they played the Bears this year, the Bears scored 3 points in the first meeting and 0 points in the second meeting. They weren't able to move the ball that much. The Packers defense held up well. The secondary played well. It was just more so in the second half, and a common theme in the second half of both of these games that I noticed just looking at the film was the play action game of Chicago started to open things up. Caleb has a really good play action game. He said his favorite quarterback was Aaron Rodgers. Now his ball fakes aren't necessarily Aaron level, but they are really good. And with that, you see An issue that the Packers have had all season is the linebackers not getting enough depth in their hook zones. With that being the case, a lot of the times it was just dig routes running behind them. Not really giving up throws up the seam per se, but a lot of dig routes behind them. What the Bears are able to do with that play action was get them to take a step up, freeze. Now behind them, you see a crossing route from Kmet or from Loveland, or even I think it was the first game. I think there was one to the rookie Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden caught a deep stop route right behind the coverage of the linebackers, the hole in the zone, and I think Ben Johnson figured that out and was able to exploit it a little bit. You want to see the Packers linebackers take that away from them, give up some of the more underneath things, come rally and tackle like we saw a lot early in the season. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah who just showed a picture of the Seattle Seahawks defense, and they were hovering around an offensive player. There was all 11 of them right around the ball, and that's something that I think if you watch the tape early on in this Packers team, they play with a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and they all swarm to the football. I haven't seen that as much as of late. That's something that I want to see in this playoff run if they're going to make a deep push is keep everything in front of you, come up, make the tackle, don't give up the big play. That's what the calling card of this defense was early and why it was so great. Now, an issue that they're starting to see is they're vulnerable to give up a big play. And if they want to go on a run, they're going to have to restrict teams from doing that. And again, the Bears didn't really do that in either game until the second half. They were able to start gashing the Packers defense, but I don't know if that's a consistent thing they'll be able to do. They didn't show it to me. I think that the defense of the Bears kind of propelled that offense. The defense gives them life that the offense otherwise didn't have in either one of those two games. Jordan Love, for instance, played well both games. First game, he threw the pick at the beginning of the game to CJ I don't think the Bears even got points off of that. They might have gotten points off of that possession. I can't remember if that's when they kicked the field goal or not, but there wasn't much generated off of that. Jordan Love, obviously, I think he threw for like 238 in the first game with 3 touchdowns and an interception, and the interception being a CJ. Second game, he moved the ball well, was 8 for 13. Moved the ball down the field, didn't get a touchdown. The 2 drives that he was in, they went down inside the 5 both times, but just came away with 3 points while he was in the game. And then on the third drive, they got another 3 points with Malik Willis. So the Packers were able to move the ball on this defense. They were able to get going, but something that happened was they forced a turnover on Josh Jacobs. Nashawn Wright, I'm pretty sure, punched the ball out on Josh Jacobs inside the 5, and they got it. And that kind of propelled – that gave them some life, gave them some energy because they didn't have any in that second game. And then, obviously, in the second game, we know what happened. Romeo Doubs misses the onside kick, and that's, again, the Packers give them life. So I think this team's very beatable. The Packers didn't have to run the ball necessarily well. I think Josh Jacobs had a rushing, either a big run or a rushing touchdown in one of the games, but I don't know if they necessarily have. I mean, I want them to run the ball well. I want them to be a well-balanced attack, but I don't know if it's something they have to do to get going. I think the biggest thing that has to happen, and this is something that happened in the loss, was the Packers' inability to score in the red zone. Like I just talked about, you saw Josh Jacobs fumble down inside the 5. The Packers weren't able to get going. Didn't score. They scored 6 points on their first 3 drives in the second game. That can't be the case. If you're going to get inside the 5-yard line, you need to punch the ball in. The Packers had been a great red zone offense all year, and for them to struggle that badly in the red zone in that game was very confusing. Don't know exactly what it was. I'm sure LaFleur and the offense kind of got together and looked to see what it was that they were struggling with down in the red zone, but it just seemed like the team was out of sorts down there passing the ball. I think Jordan missed a throw to Watson on 4th that should have been a score more than likely, but the offense has to get that figured out if they want to win this game. The big plays will be there throughout this game, but I don't think Jordan needs to force anything per se. Take what the defense is giving you. That play will come, and when that play comes, take advantage of it. Like in the first game where Christian Watson was matched up one-on-one with CJ, I'm taking that every time. That's going to be a win. Just when those opportunities present themselves, go ahead and win, but don't force anything because, like I said, this defense is very opportunistic, and that's the only way that they get life. You kind of breathe life into them whenever you give them a turnover. Otherwise, this defense isn't that great. Without forcing turnovers, what are you doing? I mean, teams are going to score points on this defense. You saw the 49ers go absolutely light them up, and that's because Brock Purdy, for the most part, was protecting the football outside of his pick 6. The Packers should come away with a win in this one. A couple things I'm looking at as well, just thinking other things that have kind of developed over the last few days. Injury report came out, and LaFleur had his press conference earlier today. Today's Tuesday when I'm recording this. But LaFleur said that Zach Tom will be a go, which will be a huge addition back to the offensive line. He'll be rested. Playing that right tackle spot, going up against Montez Sweat, I think that'll be a huge matchup for the Packers, and I expect Zach Tom to win that one. Montez Sweat doesn't generate that much pressure, and their defensive line in general just doesn't generate that much pressure. Having Zach Tom back, though, is huge because we need him. We need just to solidify that offensive line. Another addition, obviously, Josh Jacobs will be back and will be healthier for this game. He provides a spark. Josh Jacobs said that he wants these moments. Whenever he got to Green Bay, they asked him, why do you want to be here? And they say he wants to play in big games, and he also wanted to play with Jordan Love. He has a big game opportunity right here. Josh Jacobs is the type of guy that takes his opportunities personal and wants to show the league that he is one of the top backs in the NFL. He might not have the high-end speed that a Jahmyr Gibbs or somebody has, but Josh Jacobs is a really good running back in this NFL, and he wants to take this opportunity to show it. I think he will. I think he'll go for 80 yards. I'm going to say 80. I'm going to give him a good game. If Josh Jacobs goes for 80 yards, there's no way this Packers team is going to lose this game. But I think Josh Jacobs has a big game. It's everything. All your eggs in one basket. I mean, if he's not going to come out, if he's hurt, Josh Jacobs isn't going to do that, not in this playoff game when this team needs to win, unless we're up. But I think Josh Jacobs will fight through, get 80 yards, carry a huge load, and try to help this team get a win. Another thing, looking at defense, obviously the Packers added Trevon Diggs before the Vikings game. He played some snaps, didn't look bad out there, but also, I mean, nothing much was happening. J.J. McCarthy was at quarterback. No disrespect to J.J. McCarthy or Max Brosmer, but those guys right now, and you saw it by Kevin O'Connell's response to the J.J. McCarthy question in their press conference, if you saw that he's kind of iffy on him. But I think Trevon did well in his playing time that he had on Sunday. But I'm expecting to see Nixon at one corner. Right, wrong, or indifferent. He's going to be at a corner. That's his spot. And on the other corner, you might see some kind of a rotation between Diggs, Valentine, and Hobbs. Now, I do think Valentine will probably see less time just because of his inability to tackle. Valentine has the ability to diagnose a play, but he just doesn't come up and tackle in the open field, which has led to multiple big plays throughout the season, giving up third down situations, giving up touchdowns like that. He reads the screen perfectly, breaks on it, and just completely whiffs on the tackle, and there's no one else to make the play because of his aggressive play to jump and try to make the tackle or make the play on the ball. So I don't see him as much. I've been a Carrington Valentine truther early in the season when he was, in my opinion, shutting down Jamar Chase. But hopefully he gets on the field. But I see more Dobbs and Hobbs, not Dobbs, but Hobbs and Diggs out there at that position. That'll be something to watch. And then hopefully Bullard plays in the slot because I like his aggressiveness against this team. They run a lot of 12, sometimes 13 personnel, and his ability to come up and make tackles. Him and Evan Williams are probably two of the best tackling safeties in the NFL, in my opinion. They come up and hit hard. They're very aggressive downhill. So I like him in the slot playing there. Another thing that I like to see, that I'd like to talk about is special teams. So obviously we have an injury because of the Vikings game. You had Bo Melton go out. Not ideal. Don't want to see Bo Melton go down because of his importance to this team. He's a multi-tool. He does a lot of different things. But Bo Melton went down. He was a kick returner, and Savion Williams is currently on the IR. I want to see who the Packers are going to put back there. I'm not sure. Me personally, put my all-pro kick returner back there, and that would be nice. If we had an all-pro kick returner, I would love that. Oh, wait, we do. Keyshawn Nixon. Put him back there. Let him return kicks. And hopefully we can try to get better field position than we've gotten all year on kickoffs. I think, like I said, this Packers team has the ability to win this game. Final score predictions for me, I'm going to go 27-20 Packers. They have the ability to move the ball on this defense. They're going to move the ball on this defense. They need to just capitalize whenever the moment comes. And this time I feel like they will. A lot of people love to say that Matt LaFleur isn't able to get his teams up for big games. This is not one of those times. I have full faith in Matt LaFleur. I have full faith in this locker room, the players, the coaches to come away with a win in this one. This one means more. This is the Bears. I don't see a situation where this team comes out and plays flat against a Bears team that's going to bring a bunch of energy because they want to beat the Packers badly. You don't want to get embarrassed against the Bears. Matt LaFleur knows that this is huge for this job. Ed Policy's watching this game. A lot of people are talking about it. I don't think LaFleur's going anywhere anyways, but do you want to solidify, hey, I deserve this spot. I need to be the Packers head coach. You don't get ran over by the Bears and by first-year Ben Johnson in this game. You assert your dominance, say that you're the better NFC North team, and you move on to Seattle to play. Keep your season going. Keep your season alive. Play aggressive. Play smart. And come away with a win here against the Bears. I believe in this Packers team. 27-20. Give me a win. I'm going to go ahead and Charles Barkley guarantee it that the Packers are going to win this game on Saturday. You want a Super Bowl, it all starts on Saturday night, and I believe that this team can go on a magical run. They have every excuse not to. They could say, we're hurt, we don't have all of our players, Micah's not here, or they could hunker down and say, why not us? And I believe this team is going to come out and say, why not us? Why can't we do it? I believe in this team. I want everyone else to believe in this team. If you don't believe in Matt LaFleur, so be it. But he's our coach. He's our guy. He's been a great coach as he's been there, and he'd be at the top of coaching list if he were fired today. I mean, John Harbaugh just got fired today, but LaFleur would be right there behind him in terms of coaches you want on your team. So I believe in this team. Hopefully you guys do. Again, I'm super appreciative for the people who listen to this podcast. I know I've been off. I apologize for that. Back to recording content. Back to being here with you all. Love you guys. Thank you all for listening. Give me your final score predictions in the comments of this video. Like the podcast on whatever streaming service you're using, whether it's a podcast app or YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe if you're on YouTube for me. Love to connect with some of you guys. I love you all. Thank you. And for always, 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 go Pack Go.